All right, family, you already know what it is. Chauncey, GMOGMedia TV, live, back in the flesh. Good to be back at home, man. All this goddamn traveling I'm doing, but it's good to be back. So, yeah, real quick, I briefly want to touch and talk about ADOS. Hashtag ADOS, the new movement for reparations. American Descendants of Slavery. You know, shout out to Antonio Moore. And shout out to Yvette Carnell, regardless of how you feel about either one of these guys. They are pushing a movement for us. If you're classified as black or African American and you are a descendant of slavery, your ancestors come from slavery, then you got to be a part of that goddamn movement. It's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I've been talking about reparations since the inception of my YouTube channel. Just go back and just search on my YouTube channel. Just type in reparations and you'll see how many videos pop up referencing reparations, referencing black society having our own infrastructure so that the wealth, the infrastructure, and the resources are properly distributed out to us. That is the whole goal. Because this inequality shit that we've been fighting for since civil rights, it's what's called a illusion of inclusion. Dominant white society never wants us to be in position of power. They want to keep us in a position where they can control us, to keep us docile, right? To keep us insipid, right? And they've been doing that post-Jim Crow, actually pre-Jim Crow, since the inception of the transatlantic slave trade. And I always talk about the inception of the transatlantic slave trade happening in 1505, because that's when the first slave set foot on U.S. soil, 1505. But a lot of people like to say 400 years, but regardless, it's been hundreds of years, okay, that we have been mistreated. We have been, blasted, destroyed, taken from our ancestors, stripped of knowledge of self, stripped of our history, stripped of our language, right? Which is Africa, in the countries within Africa, right? And you trace our lineage back to Africa, you know exactly what tribe you come from if you did your DNA trace or whatever the case may be, right? So you should know and understand that this is important. And I've been talking about this for, like I said, since 2015, since I started my YouTube channel. But the ADOS movement, like I said, sparked by Antonio Moore from Tone Talks and Yvette Carnell. Much respect to them, you know, much respect to them. And if you don't know about ADOS, go to ADOS101.com, where it breaks down, you know, the history of what ADOS is about. As a matter of fact, I'm going to read the first paragraph. About ADOS. Hashtag ADOS was started by the brain trust of Howard graduate and the host of Breaking Brown political show, Yvette Carnell, and UCLA alumni and attorney Antonio Moore, who hosts the weekly radio show Tone Talks. ADOS, which stands for American Descendants of Slavery, seeks to reclaim, restore the critical national character of the African American identity and the experience, one grounded in our group's unique lineage, and which is central to our continuing struggle for social and economic justice in the United States. All right. Like I said, just go to the site and it breaks down the history and breaks down the racial wealth gap in terms of what black households are making and how much black households are worth compared to the white counterparts. And we are at the bottom of the totem pole in every statistical category you can think of. And the fact that the transatlantic slave trade, even the sub-Saharan slave trade, equates to trillions of dollars of free labor, right? Of free labor that transpired across the Americas and across the Atlantic seaboard, right? And I know some of the contrarian motherfuckers and the coons and the Sambos, they want to talk about, well, what about the black on black slavery and this, that, and the third? And I've debunked that plenty of times, and it's very easy to debunk. You know, the actual tribalism when it comes to the slavery that happened in Africa. First of all, you know, that is completely different than the dominant white society coming into a new land to look at and discover a new form of humans, which are us, black people, and strip them, right? Strip them, take them from one continent to another, right? Without their consent. That's slavery. That's modern chattel slavery. Okay? Now, the so-called slavery they're talking about in terms of within Africa, that's different. That's tribalism territory. Right? You had different tribes, things of that nature, that had conforms and that had statues, right, within their tribe to do certain things, where you would take a tribal person from another tribe and put them in bondage or whatever case may be because of their rules and their regulations within that tribe. But they knowingly did that. It wasn't something that you know, some troglodyte bastard came by and said, "Oh, look at that big nigga right there running. Let's take him and let's take his children and let's castrate him." You know, that's completely different. Taking someone's actual freedom without their consent, that is chattel slavery. That has been happening for over 500 years. That's what we're addressing right now with the ADOS movement. Okay? That's what we're talking about right now. You feel me? So, you know, with the ADOS movement, it's been going like wildfire, and I've been closely paying attention to everything. I know Angela Rye and some of the Democrats, well, actually a lot of the Democrats, are dismissing and diminishing the ADOS movement. I know Angela Rye said, well, you know, ADOS was started by the Russians, you know, and another Democrat pundit who I can't think of right now dismissed the ADOS movement, you know, by basically just basically devaluing its meaning and the history and not actually doing actual research to find out who started the movement or going to the source, by just automatically throwing out, you know, white supremacist talking points by, you know, using diversion tactics, talking about this was started by the Russians, but without actually doing critical research. ADOS101.com tells you that right there. All the information that you need to know. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, they you know, Antonio Moore breaks down the racial wealth gap of what caused black society to be at the bottom of the totem pole in all 9 areas of activity: economics, education, entertainment, labor law, politics, religion, sex, and war. Because of the free labor that we have produced for over 500 years, like I said, that equates to $1 trillion. More than likely, more than that. You know, but from my standpoint, how I talk about why black society deserves reparations, and it's more than just the racial wealth gap, but it has a lot to do with the psychological effect of slavery that has been passed down through DNA, and it's been scientifically proven. I'll talk about this article that I referenced a couple years back. You know, a study of a group of African Americans finds trauma of slavery passed on to children's genes. Okay? DNA of the trauma of slavery passed down through our children's genes. All right? So that is something that is very traumatic. You know, that is something that is, you can't put a price tag on that. You can't put a price tag on epigenetics, which is basically your surroundings causing psychological effects of slavery, such as, you know, like I always talk about in reference, You know, post-traumatic slavery disorder. Shout out to Joy DeGruy. You know, Stockholm syndrome and cognitive dissonance. Those are some of the mental and psychological issues that black society faces on a daily basis, whether they know it or not, whether they want to admit to it or not. This is what we deal with. This is what we have to deal with, right? And on top of the racial wealth gap, on top of the psychological effects and things of that nature, we have more obstacles to overcome to come out of our conditions, to come out of our impoverished conditions, you know, poverty-stricken areas, drug and crime-riddled areas that most of us live in, right? We have to overcome those areas. Lack of jobs, lack of education, lack of resources, right? Again, poverty-stricken areas. We have to overcome that because of the psychological and economical disparities and the trauma of slavery that has been passed down through our ancestors to us. So yes, again, we are the descendants of slavery, and I'm 100% on board of ADOS. And you know, like I said, you know, a lot of the Democrats are dismissing the ADOS movement, and I've been preaching about, you know, and co-signing the ideology of Dr. Claude Anderson in terms of black society. We need our own political party. It's time. The ADOS movement is just getting stronger and stronger, and more folks, more black people are starting to wake up because of the ADOS movement. But we need our own political party. We need our own political party that's associated with the ADOS movement to ensure that we get our reparations with an agenda, right? We already codified with the ADOS movement, but now let's attach that with the political party, because the Democratic plantation and the Republican coon train, you know what I'm saying? Even me as the independent, I've been an independent since I was 18 years old. I'm 39, so I've never identified with either political party. You know what I'm saying? But I'm a registered independent, but I would prefer black society to have its own political party that associates with the ADOS movement, or that associates with the agenda of reparations for black society. It's time. It's time. So, you know, whether I or we have to reach out to Antonio Moore, Yvette Carnell, whatever the case may be, we need officially to start our own political party. You know what I'm saying? I'm 100% down to collaborate and come up with the strategy to get that happening, to get that popped off. But I'm just putting it out there right now that with the ADOS movement, hashtag ADOS movement, or ADOS, whatever you want to call it, the American Descendants of Slavery, which is what I am, right? We need to associate that with a political party. You know, just that simple. We gotta associate that. So we gotta associate that with with our own political party. You know, and with this article right here, this talks about calculating reparations. 1.5 million for each slave descendants in the U.S. You know, that's just an average of what the average person could possibly get from reparations, or from the trauma of reparations, right? 1.5 million for each descendant in the U.S. But again, we got to have a political party to associate that with, so that we know that the person that's running for office, political office, whatever the case may be, you know, is with the ADOS movement and the political party that's assigned to the ADOS movement. Because the Democrat plantation and the Republican coon train, I should say, has not and will not do shit for black society, especially reparations. We know this. It won't do a goddamn thing for reparations. You know? So, like I said, I'm down for. I'm completely down for a political party that's associated with the ADOS movement, and we need to come together and brainstorm. And I'll do another follow-up video as well if you guys got some ideas down below in the comment section. And yeah, just share this video out to as many people as possible. And we got to get this movement going, because I'm 100% on board for the ADOS movement, but we gotta, like I said, we gotta have our own political party, because these Democrats and these Republicans have never done shit for black society, regardless of what you may think in the past. Ain't gonna do a goddamn thing for black society, especially reparations. We know this. We know we gotta get our own, just like the Asian community got their reparations, just like the Jewish community got their reparations, just like the Native American community got their reparations. It's time for black society to get our reparations. Like Dr. Martin Luther King said, we got to get our check. As soon as he started talking about that, guess what happened to him? Guess what happened to him? We already know what happened to him, right? So, like I said, leave your comments down below. Let me know what you guys think down below. Post your ideas about the ADOS political party down below in the comment section, family. Let me know what you guys think. I'm gonna be posting a lot more content now that I'm back. Check out other videos that's dropping. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe and hit that bell notification icon. Like I said, like, share, and subscribe. Comment, share this video, family, and subscribe right now and hit that bell notification icon. And please also follow me on Instagram at GMOGMediaTV. All right, family, till next time, Chauncey, GMOGMediaTV, signing out. Peace.